This wasn't supposed to end like this. Not with a deadline, not with silence, and definitely not with the one man who saved them now standing there saying 30 days or it's over. Because when Tyler Perry speaks, he doesn't bluff. And this time, his words weren't whispered in back rooms or leaked through tabloids. They were said out loud in public, and they landed like a financial earthquake straight on Montecito.
He wasn't prepared to just allow Tyler Perry to have his moment on his big night, Angela.
At what exactly is going on with Tyler and what Harry and Meghan have said about it, they are humanitarian.
Tyler Perry just dropped the bombshell. 30 days or it's over. And no, this isn't some tabloid leak or anonymous source whispering to gossip blogs. These were his actual words said out loud in public. Meghan and Harry might lose their Montecito dream home. Not to some bank, not to internet rumors, but to the one person who actually had their back when everything fell apart. The man who gave them a place to hide, who covered their security, who stepped in when no one else would. So what happened? How did we get from Tyler Perry being their hero to him giving them a 30-day deadline? Stick around, because what really went down is way bigger than anyone's talking about. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to show you is wild. We're talking millions of dollars, broken promises. That's the part nobody wants to sit with, because this wasn't some cold bank foreclosure. This wasn't a faceless corporation sending letters through lawyers. This was personal. This was the man who opened his doors when they had nowhere else to go. The man who paid for protection when nobody else would. The man who didn't ask questions when the world turned its back on them. And now he's the one drawing the line.
Over there in Montecito, you got any of them private jets? We need some of those private jets.
And a timeline that's about to blow your mind. Like this video if you want the full story, because trust me, you don't know the half of it yet. Let's get into it. So let's rewind. Back to 2020, the year everything cracked open. 1 minute they're in Canada. The next minute, they're gone. No warning, no safety net, no permanent home, and the U.S. security fears piling up, paparazzi pressure exploding, and no clear plan beyond we need to get out now. They weren't strategizing, they were scrambling. And that's when Tyler Perry stepped in. Not quietly, not halfway, but fully.
Shines. Meghan Markle recently said that you reached out to her and said, come, you can.
At the time, everyone framed it as this beautiful act of generosity. A Hollywood heavyweight with a big heart stepping up to help a couple who just walked away from everything they knew. And honestly, that's exactly what it looked like on the surface. Because it did look beautiful. A billionaire opening his Beverly Hills estate. Not a guest house, not a short stay. His actual home. With security, with privacy, with no cameras. It was protection when they had none. And it didn't stop there. What nobody paid attention to, which slipped right past the headlines, was that the help didn't end when they moved out. It expanded, quietly, privately, and financially.
And Meghan. With 2 acres, the over 13,000 square foot house offers 5 bedrooms, 5 full baths.
That's where Tyler Perry allegedly came in again. And get this, none of it was structured the way you'd expect. No lawyers hammering out contracts, no paperwork splashed across headlines, no public announcements or press releases about loan agreements. Just trust between friends. That's where everything shifted, because millions changed hands, not on paper, not in press releases, but on trust. A bridge loan, a gap filler, money meant to temporarily hold things together until the big Hollywood deals kicked in. The Montecito mansion didn't just appear, the down payment alone was massive, and someone had to close that gap. Tyler Perry believed he was helping friends stand back up, not carrying them forever.
That really stuck out at me. Please share. So the writer writes, when I meet up with Meghan a week later, we're in a grand brown...
You don't write checks that big to folks who are already set. You loan that kind of money to people who actually need it. People who are between one chapter closing and another one starting. That's the key phrase, between chapters. They had left one world behind, and the next one hadn't paid out yet. The assumption was simple. Netflix would hit, Spotify would hit, money would flow, repayment would follow. Except that's not what happened. Because here's where things started getting uncomfortable. The repayment slowed, then stalled, then stopped. And worse than that, the communication stopped too. The payments that were supposed to come back, they started slowing down, and then eventually they just stopped. Calls weren't getting returned. Text messages were sitting there on read with no response. That's when the dynamic changed. Not because of money, Tyler Perry doesn't need it, but because respect disappeared. No updates, no explanations, no acknowledgement, just silence. And when someone fronts you millions on trust alone, silence is the loudest insult there is. He's patient. He's understanding. He didn't go running to the media. He went quiet instead. And that silence said more than any public statement ever could. The warmth vanished, interviews shifted, names stopped coming up, the hero narrative quietly died. Behind the scenes, reminders were ignored, messages unanswered. A friend turned into an afterthought. And once that happens, friendship stops being the language. Formality replaces it. Deadlines replace patience. And that's where this story is headed. Because the 30-day warning didn't come out of nowhere. It came after everything else failed. And now the clock is ticking. This is where the fantasy finally ran into math. Because on paper, everything was supposed to work. The announcements were loud. The headlines were glowing. The numbers sounded insane. Spotify, Netflix, global platforms, tens of millions promised. From the outside, it looked like money was raining down on Montecito. But here's the brutal truth nobody likes to say out loud. Contracts are not cash. Announcements don't pay mortgages. Buzz doesn't cover security bills. And attention alone doesn't keep a $14 million mansion standing. That's where the cracks started spreading fast. Spotify was supposed to be the first lifeline. Reportedly massive, supposedly transformative. But then, nothing. Production crawled, output barely existed, executives started getting irritated. And then came the moment that poisoned the well completely. Bill Simmons didn't whisper. He didn't sugarcoat. He went public and called them grifters. Once that word hits the air, contracts don't survive. And Spotify didn't. That revenue? Gone. Netflix held on longer, but curiosity has a shelf life. The documentary exploded because people wanted answers. They wanted drama. They wanted tea. But curiosity fades. Follow-ups didn't land. Projects stalled. Shows quietly disappeared down the rankings. By 2025, some content wasn't even cracking the top 300. And here's the part no fan wants to admit. Visibility doesn't pay property tax. That Montecito estate wasn't just a house. It was a financial machine that never stopped eating. Mortgage, property tax, staff, landscaping, maintenance, full-time private security. 7 figures a year just to exist. When the big checks didn't arrive the way everyone expected, the math stopped working. That's when choices get ugly. Who gets paid first? Who can wait? Who's patient? And who finally says enough? Tyler Perry was watching all of this unfold. He didn't need insider gossip. He understands Hollywood better than most people in it. He saw Spotify collapse. He saw Netflix stall. He saw momentum die. And when repayments didn't restart, he knew something deeper was wrong. Because this wasn't a delay anymore. This was structural. At the same time, another fire was burning quietly in the background, Archewell. The foundation was supposed to be their moral shield, their legacy play. The proof they weren't just about money, but the numbers told a different story. Millions going out, barely half coming in. That's not philanthropy, that's hemorrhaging. Staff cuts followed, bills stacked up, and then the one thing no foundation wants, ears attention. When auditors start asking questions, everything freezes. Approvals stall. Accounts get reviewed. Lines blur between charity and lifestyle. And blurred lines are dangerous when money is tight. Now stack everything together. Streaming income collapsing foundation, bleeding cash, no royal, safety net, no family, backstop private lenders waiting, and one billionaire finally done waiting. This is where the silence became deafening. Because when someone accuses you of owing millions and they're wrong, you respond immediately. Statements, receipts, denials. But when you're quiet, that doesn't read as dignity. It reads as a no good move available. Behind closed doors, reports started circulating about asset reviews. What can be sold? What can be liquidated quickly? What's actually real money? Jewelry, inheritances, future payments that hadn't arrived yet. That's panic math, and Hollywood noticed. Because when someone like Tyler Perry goes public, everyone else starts checking their own exposure. Nobody wants to be the last person waiting patiently while the well runs dry. One deadline creates a domino effect. Other lenders get nervous. Old favors get re-examined. Patience evaporates. That's how pressure builds, not all at once, but everywhere. And here's the cruel irony. The Montecito mansion still looks perfect. Roses blooming, gates closed, ocean views untouched. But houses remember debt. Every unpaid dollar sits there. Every ignored message lingers. Every promise made during temporary help still counts. That house wasn't freedom. It was borrowed time. The down payment was borrowed. The security was borrowed. The bridge from royal life to Hollywood independence was borrowed, and borrowed freedom always comes with a bill. Tyler Perry didn't destroy anything. He didn't sabotage their future. He didn't betray them. He just stopped pretending demonstrating patience was working. 30 days wasn't cruelty, it was clarity. Because independence built on other people's money isn't independence, it's delay. Sometimes the gamble pays off, sometimes the deals hit, sometimes the checks come and everyone gets paid back, and sometimes they don't. When the streaming money dries up, when foundations can't sustain themselves, when family doors close permanently, and when lenders start comparing notes, that's when the dream stops being a dream and becomes a balance sheet. The clock is still ticking, Hollywood is still watching, and other creditors are paying very close attention. Because what happens next doesn't just affect Montecito, it affects trust. And once trust collapses, money follows. That mansion was never the beginning of independence. It was the price tag for trying to buy it. And the bill? It's still being calculated, still being calculated, still being calculated.